So driving the Pacifica hybrid, of course, I'm used to driving this vehicle as I have one. But one thing that I love about the powertrain is that instant torque that you get from the electric motors whenever you are coming from a stop. Just really, really good power there. And then you have the V6 to back you up if you need more than 50% throttle output. But it's really fun to drive it in the EV mode for me because I can really help get that miles per gallon up. I think mine's at like 41 miles per gallon now because I try and keep it charged up as much as possible. And even though I do round trips that are usually between 60 and 100 miles, it still does a really good job on the highway, specifically on 2-lane roads where the speed limit's 45, 55, things of that nature. Really, really good fuel economy there. But the view I have up here is the one I usually keep it in because it shows me my average and then it shows me what I'm getting based on whether I'm just in the EV mode or if I'm in the hybrid mode. So like I said, it's really just fun to get that number up as high as I can. Now with this Pacifica hybrid, I'll have a lot more to say just because I've lived with one for almost, well, over 13,000 miles now, just by owning one. So as opposed to getting behind a vehicle that I've not been in before, when I've only driven around a couple of times for 5 or 10 miles, I know this one like the back of my hand. And one thing that can be an issue is, especially if you're on an uphill incline, you want to make sure you keep your foot on the brake because where it tries to stay in that EV mode, it has quite a bit of rollback as opposed to you having to keep your foot on the brake. Specifically with the, I'm talking about in the regen mode, just because it's always trying to recoup as much energy as possible from the brakes. A lot of the times it tends to want to roll back because it's not necessarily in a full-on drive mode where the engine is always trying to propel you. But that's probably my biggest issue with it, and it's really not a problem, it's just something you have to get used to, kind of like driving a stick. And really love the hybrid just because, yeah, the fuel economy is great when you're just using the EV mode, but when you put it into that realm above the 50% power, you're getting the gas engine and the electric motors working, and that's where you feel a really nice thrust of power. Now we'll put our foot into it, getting on the interstate here. And you really feel that juice from the electric motors, you really do. Now it's not a speed demon, but it has really good merging power, really good passing power, especially for a minivan. And then when you're not trying to merge, you really do get really good efficiency in terms of fuel economy and being able to use the battery. But like a typical minivan, ride quality is fantastic. Just really low slung, so you really get a nice smooth ride without having to worry about anything really. I mean, the braking pedal feels good, the gas pedal feels good, the steering feels nice, the suspension is smooth, but still you're able to feel the road. And it's just really, minivans are really probably one of the better driving vehicles as opposed to sedans, SUVs, because they're not necessarily as top heavy, and you still have that feeling that you're level with everything else out on the road. So really direct competitor to this is going to be the Toyota Sienna, with that having a hybrid powertrain, and of course your gas powered minivans like the Odyssey. But I really like the Pacifica hybrid because with this van specifically having that hybrid powertrain, you do have the option of getting that full $7,500 tax credit, which I actually used for my 22 to keep me from having to pay into the government this year. So that was really nice. And having the full EV setup and not just the hybrid, I really like being able to plug this in and get the full effect of having an EV while also having a hybrid. So just really, really love this van. And the only issue that I've seen is a lot of people complain about reliability having older ones. But I mean, I'm gonna get a warranty on mine, and it'll go, I think, 150,000 miles, something like that, 7 years. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully I won't ever have to use it. That Franklin, Tennessee traffic is always awful, doesn't matter what time of day it is. But anyways, so just a really, really good van for the money, in my opinion, especially if you can get one for 50 or 60 grand, because you're only really paying $7,500 less than that. So it's competitive with the market, and especially in this limited, I think you get a lot for paying an extra 10 grand on top of the hybrid touring trim, having the cooled seats, having the sunroof, having the navigation. But like I said, I mean, I own one, so I definitely love them, but just a really good option in terms of the competition. And if you want something that's easy to drive, easy to haul your kids in, and just easy to own. So this will bring me to the end of my review of the new 2023 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid in the limited trim level.